Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video is composed of things that I tinkered with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. This video should contain tips and tricks of things that I've learned throughout the year. Now, I only plan on leaving this video posted for about 30 days. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. Got some goodies in the mail from our Black Friday sale. See what they are here. Bunch of oil filters and Bilstein struts for my daughter's car. Awesome. These are Bilstein Touring. Got a few things out of my little part stashes for the engine swap on the yellow. Got to make a couple of other quick stops and then I'll head to the shop and swap over everything I need for this engine swap and get this engine put on the transmission and hopefully get that raised up and locked in today. Hope to start that thing before 6 o'clock, so we'll see how that goes. I sure hope it goes a lot smoother than tearing that stuff out. They say they can normally pull an engine with the undercarriage or subframe and transmission and all of that stuff out of a car in 2 hours. Man, it took us 9 or 10 to get that thing out of there. The old way that I pull them out the top, I could normally get an engine out of a car in 3-4 hours. So that took a lot more time than I'd hoped and expected, so hopefully it goes back in a lot easier. Alright, I have the timing belt on the engine. All of these parts seem to have not been on the car very long. The rollers, the tensioner, the water pump, everything's tight. Water pump has been replaced before. It's not 10 years old. I'm going to reuse those timing parts and tell the new owner to replace this stuff in about 40,000 miles. Alright, I made a little disc. I put a pointer on it. I pointed it up towards 0. I cranked it over until I feel like I'm at 4 degrees, which is almost halfway. So let me go ahead and tighten those bolts down and move this over to the exhaust side. Back here, I put this wrench on it and I adjusted it until I got that movement. As you can see, the bolt holes are no longer centered, but they haven't moved a whole lot. 4 degrees is not a lot. Should not make hardly any difference in your timing. So torque these down to 15 inch-pounds. Now I'm going to pull this out of the way because I need to advance the exhaust timing, and this will be in the way. I got to advance the exhaust timing 5 degrees. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the one off of the intake cam because I need to advance the exhaust cam 5 degrees and I don't want this in the way. The exhaust cam, I need to go 5 degrees advance. So I got my pointer there. I'm going to go to the next line. I brought this little paper over there, made those 10-degree lines. So I'm going to go 5 degrees. So let me go in the back. I want to make sure these are not tight. Then when I come to the back, I want to make sure that my tool is level with the head seam. That lets me know that cam didn't turn. Then I'm going to put the tool on there, turn it counterclockwise, which will advance the front and the cams. Watch it from here, make sure it moves, and go 5 degrees. That should be very close to it right there. Now what you want to do is tape this paper to these bolts so that you know the paper turns with the bolts. You don't want the bolts moving and the paper not moving. So I'm going to go ahead, remove this, lock this down, and be done with the cam alignment. Do note that my marks on my cams doesn't change. So When the timing belts change in the future and people put these on the proper marks, we'll still be good to go. Now I gotta check torque on all these bolts, make sure they're torque right, and then I'm gonna put my crank nut on there, roll this engine around 2 full revolutions, make sure these marks still line up and my belt still has the tension. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'm also making sure that I can rotate the cams around in the head without any contact to the pistons. You want to do that before you start the car. Put the tool on it, roll the crank around a couple times, and as you can see my tensioner is off, so I'm going to reset that tensioner, which would tighten that belt up a little bit. My cams are right on the mark. If you change the sprocket, you might have to change your mark a little bit. This one was a half a tooth off. Now it's right on. Alright, this time when I went around, put my cams back on the mark, I'm aligned down here. So I'm good to go. Crank in both cams. Got the rear cam insertion tool for the cam seals, and I put both of those cam seals in. Now I'm going to put the hardware on the back of them. So I'm putting the rotor disc on and the cam half moon thing on. These things are offset, so they should offset with the cam. See, that slot is a little lower, this is a little lower. This should fit right like that real easy. Don't force it on. That loop is a little on the high side, this is a little on the high side, so this is going to go in there just like that, nice and easy. So don't force those things, they only go on one way. Now put the bolts in them. Put the bolts in, you can't get them mixed up. One of them has a small washer, the other one has a big washer. Snug them down inside the cams. Torque them down 12.5 to 15 foot-pounds. Now there's absolutely no evidence of any rear main seal leak on this engine. It had approximately 112,000 miles on it. Sometimes it's better to leave sleeping dogs lie. If the PCV is clear, it shouldn't have an issue. So I'm actually going to leave that alone and let that be. Next I'm going to clean up these 2 pipes that take these hoses. Since these wires are dated 40th week 2014, I'm going to reuse them. Make sure you put the dust cap in there before you put the cap on. Back to my storage to look for an exhaust manifold. I don't have one that has EGR. I got the R manifold from the newer vehicles, but I did find my Volvo hose, so I don't have to use that Euro one that they had at the shop. I would have turned around and replaced it right away with a Volvo one anyway. So, man, I gotta swing by the junkyard real quick to see if there's an exhaust manifold sitting there. There is 195 vehicle there. I don't know if they junked the car with the exhaust manifold or not, because that's the one that Buster Brown bought that engine on. So I'm gonna swing by there and I get back to the shop and try to get that engine installed. Man, with the time being what it is, I only have 2.5 hours to work on it. I don't think I'm gonna get that thing running today. Probably first thing in the morning. I'm gonna run a test on my scan gauge to see how much it costs going from the junkyard, actually from my storage to the junkyard, and then I'll check it another route later on, see which route is cheaper. See the TFC, that's total fuel cost. It also has a time ticking away, so I'll check it both ways, see which is quicker, which is cheaper. I'm out here looking for that black 850 Buster Brown junked a few months ago, and I think they crushed it. That thing might have had the manifold I needed on there, and I do not see it. I think it is gone. That stinks, because I really did need that freaking exhaust manifold from it. It's the notorious Buster Brown, folks. He's gonna show me something. What are you gonna show me, Buster Brown?
Let me show this Volvo.
Hey, you need to show me some of your articles and stuff when you used to be a runner.
Huh?
When you used to be a runner for Nike. You gonna show me some?
I have it home.
All right, we need to do an interview for people to know how famous you were. Here goes some of the parts that was out of that 95 Volvo. I don't see an exhaust manifold, so it may not have been in there. Now I'm going to put the wraparound PCV hose in position so that it's ready. I'm going to use the one from a 99 or newer vehicle, take the ends off of it and hook them up. So I'm going to put this in on there and take that in, put it on that side, hook that stuff up. The main difficulty with this part, which this is a newer Volvo part, is not that it gets clogged, but over time it gets brittle and somebody messes with it and breaks it. Then you lose your vacuum. So these aluminum tubes don't have that issue. Make sure they're clear and put the rubber ends on there and attach it. You could do one of two things. You could get in here and get these off. They're kind of sweated on there at the ends. Transfer them, clamp them if you want, or you can just buy these separately and put them on there. Either way. We had a bolt stuck in the exhaust manifold, and man, Thomas came over here and got this thing out less than 10 minutes. So got the exhaust manifold off, going to hit it, check it for trueness, and install it.
Keep going, you gotta go back to center with it.
That's the bolt that was stuck in the back of that head. He hit it with an air chisel a few times, got it roughed up, got a socket on it, and turned it off. Common problem with these exhaust manifolds is a crack in the peace sign edges. That one has a crack in it. This one's got 2 cracks in it. It's even worse than that one. So that's why I wanted to get this one off. I don't see 1 crack in this one. Scrape or clean off any carbon or soot you have. Check it for cracks. If it's not cracked, you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and find my exhaust manifold studs and get this on. You do this either way. I pushed all the bolts through the manifold. I put some floss on a bolt. I'm going around causing the floss to keep the gaskets on. Then I'm going to take this thing and put it on. So that little bit of floss is not going to cost you a manifold leak or anything like that. So there you have it. If you got the studs, you can put the studs in the head and floss them up. If the nuts are still on the studs, you could do it this way. So now I'm going to set this manifold up against the back of the head and screw these in. Done for today. Got all the crap loaded back in the garage. The yellow car is up here and popping, and the engine is way over there. All I gotta do is put the PCV and the intake on, and then I can mount it on the transmission. Whenever you mount an engine to the transmission on these vehicles, you need to sand the surface of the transmission, sand the surface of the engine, so that you get a good ground. There's been a lot of people put engines in cars and they not start because this aluminum is not carrying a good enough ground. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.